Danganronpa.
Are you ready, guys?
Oh, hello?
Make sure that everything is good. Is it working on your end?
Yeah.
Transition. Let's go. Let's go. It's going, right?
Yeah.
It's going so hard.
It's going.
When the going gets tough, the tough goes. I don't know where it goes. I wish the calibration thing would like be able to be moved. Also, I bet if mine was at a higher angle, it would be picking up easier because it would be looking over. Does that make sense? But
Yeah.
unfortunately, I have to have it this way.
Yeah.
So it can charge. So I want to get... Actually, you know what we could get? We could get one of the MagSafe chargers just to start out with, and every time we stream, I pick my phone.
Yeah.
What about we need to get like a good, long, nice, long, girthy MagSafe cord. Maybe we'll look into that, as well as the pop filter. Messaged my Sweetwater guy about the pop filter.
Oh, did you?
I have a guy, you know. I have a guy. That's how
You
we
have
are
a
now.
guy.
I have a guy.
You got a guy. You got a guy.
I have a guy. Regularly, I have a guy.
Same.
Damn. Oh, that was weird. I was so confused for a sec there. Oh? Says that we haven't got ourselves in any Discords. Discord isn't even open on my PC. What the fuck?
Oh, okay.
I guess I closed it last night before. Let's try that. 30 is a good thing for background noise, by the way. Minus 30 dB, and like talking should be anywhere between like minus 15, minus 10. You know, like there. Right?
And the yellow, which I like never reach the yellow. I never do. Almost. Oh, look, I'm touching the yellow.
When you get excited, you touch the. You touch the pee-pee.
Oh yeah. It's do re mi all over again. Actually, you don't even know about that.
No, no one knows about it.
There's this whole thing on like TikTok and YouTube of do re mi, and you have to hit all the notes, and it's like a cheese ball.
A deer.
The dough, each one has a hole on
Ray, a drop of golden sun.
It's a cheese ball. To go through the hole, you have to do the right pitch.
A thing.
I was trying to do it earlier. I failed.
That's gonna be in my head forever. It's also really weird going back and gonna be reading the novel when we've been doing some later installments. Oh my god, I have so many technical. But I think we've improved some quality on the stream, haven't we? Don't you think?
Maybe.
I think so. I think this is better. For one, I'm not bleeding into yours as much at all, unless I yell. And you're not bleeding into mine.
Well,
you know
don't
what I mean?
yell.
I need to yell.
Don't shout.
Scream and shout and let it all out. And scream and shout and let it out.
It actually did just pick you up.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Say, oh, we oh, we oh, we oh. What? That's what we say, isn't it?
Do we?
Yeah, that's the Black Eyed Peas song.
Somebody playing Digimon?
Wait, where? In where?
I literally just saw Digimon up on that.
Where?
Whatever that was that you've been scrolling on.
Someone was playing. Where?
Was somebody I swear I saw Digimon.
Are you sure?
I did.
I don't see any Digimon. I
yeah.
see Digimon! I'm
Somebody was playing the Digis.
Digimon. We need to do Digimon games. For my own sanity. I'm gonna follow them. I'm gonna check them out later. No, I don't want to watch their stream. Jesus.
Oh no.
I'm not watching their VOD right now. They're not even online. They have. Oh my god, they're also a witch. I think that's a witchy design. Can't really get a good look at the design from the clip. Anyway.
Anywho's.
We'll watch them later. Anywho's. Whose is who and whose is you? Who's? The boy who lived.
Oh boy. I saw a video today of the one funny thing about Voldemort
Yeah.
is getting to hear him laugh in different languages.
Oh, the ha ha. Yeah, I can't even do it, but you know what? I know
Yeah.
exactly the laugh that you're on. Is it the same actor or is it like dubbed over?
Dubbed up.
You assume it's dubbing.
I assume.
You assume it's dubbed.
The wubba dub.
Dubbed.
Wubba dub dub.
It was me, Dubbo. What else we need to talk about before we start doing the actual thing that we're here to do?
I don't know.
Other than I want to get nice pop filters for these so we can be right up close in it and not have to worry about it being distorted a little bit.
Look like you're eating your mic.
Oh, the VTuber model?
Well,
Or
yeah,
me?
but you as well.
But yeah, that's how you might speak into this, honey. Why aren't you eating yours? I told you this.
Because I'm as close. I'm close enough
Is your face
without eating it.
is your face rubbing on it?
No.
Then you're not close enough.
What?
That's what I told you. We need to be in the mics. I thought that's what you was doing this whole time when we was testing audio.
No, I'm right
Oh
here.
my god, then no wonder the fucking wasn't working like I was expecting it to.
When we first set up these mics, you told me to
Yeah.
have it just a teensy bit
Yeah.
away from your face and at the corner of your mouth.
I know, but I told you I've done massive amounts of research now. Keep diving into this shit. Into these mics specifically. It's actually...
Yeah, you should trim your mustache.
The fuck? Besides, the slime doesn't have the mustache.
Why doesn't the slime have a mustache?
Because the slime model didn't have a mustache. Jesus. But yeah, no, I definitely think this will be fixed if this was up, looking over. But we definitely need to look into one of those. Surely those are cheap enough, right?
I don't. Well, yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Swigging on my
I
tea.
mean, also it was closer too. I mean, we can work on getting these closer now.
Get as close as you want.
That's what I mean. Again, if we had a skinnier table and we had like, yeah, but definitely, because all the other streamer tables are definitely a lot skinnier than this. We can have the clamp on there. You know what I mean? The monitor's on the arms. Be brought all the way forward. I'm so sorry that I'm having to do. 2-pack. How long do we need? 10 feet? I thought you was about to say an actual fucking number. How long?
I really don't know.
How long is that one?
Is it not a 6-footer, is it?
I don't know. That's why I asked you. Why did none of these ones tell you the actual fucking length? You know what I mean?
Oh.
But either way, because you see how these work, they just...
They work like how the watches do.
Yeah, where they click on.
Yeah.
Right, but you can tell me the actual fucking length of the cable. 5 foot. Maybe? I don't know. We need to measure this one. Where did we get that? Did we get this one from Amazon?
Probably Walmart. Fair.
This is a 6. But either way, that they're... How long is the Apple one? Like, the most important thing to me about a cable is how fucking long it is. And none of these modern charging cables actually tell you. You know what I mean? None of them actually tell you
I'm sorry.
how long fucking cable is. I'm like, just tell me how long the fucking cable is. Tell me if it's long enough for my phone. That's all I need to know. Also, oh god, is the iPhone 12 gonna have a different fucking fitting? No, it says 12 series. Charger not included with the charger. That's stupid. What are you buying?
What?
It just says on here for the MagSafe charger. Charger not included.
Oh, it charger pad.
I'm assuming it means the actual box is not included.
Oh, yeah.
Why did none of them list the fucking length, man? I'm getting... the benefits of replacement with a 5-foot cable. How long is 5 feet?
Me minus 3 inches.
I love noise filters. We're buying with my paycheck. Don't want to. Better know.
No, I mean, it's something that you need, obviously.
Like this one was 5. This is 5 foot, and this is $11. Not bad, right? We could just do that and just take off my phone case when we're doing this, and that way we can just have it, you know, here, and it won't have to go all the way around. You know, it can just go on the actual phone, like an. Oh my god. What charges quicker? Okay, yeah, apparently plugging it in can be faster. Oh, wow. Okay, so wired is still better. But I do feel enough to keep it alive.
Saw the light
Oh my
flicker.
god. Not gonna go out. Hoping not anyway.
If the stream abruptly stops, you'll know why.
Because fucking Florida.
Florida, boom, boom, boom. You're one hell of a drug.
Oh my. Flowrider. Mr. Flowrider himself shows up. Anyway, I'm gonna press some record on this. You know, and we are going to go straight into chapter 6. You know that we're on chapter 6?
No, I didn't realize we were that far.
Of Danganronpa 0. It's really not that far. Would you want to go and just read this first one then? I can drink my tea while you read. All into one lovely video from all our various streams, you know?
Yeah. Chapter 6. Before I knew it, I found myself running, tears and snot running down my face, scrawling something in my notebook. That's a really weird term to use.
Have you never heard the word scroll?
No.
When you scroll something down?
No?
That's literally my only way of living is scrolling things down.
Oh.
It's like scribbling down.
Used to scribbling, but scrawling's
scroll
weird. Okay.
It's English. You know, the language that you speaketh.
I speak Americanese.
I speak Americanese. Don't try to tell me that I'm
I speak Southernese. That's what I should say.
Yeah, all right.
But then I quickly forgot why I was even running. I slowed my pace and looked down at the unfinished memory in my notebook. As I did, the just forgotten memory came back to me in an instant. Yeah. Screaming, I continued fervently. Whoa, what'd you do? Fervently, dashing away from the central plaza. I climbed over the iron fence like it was nothing and ran along the pavement until I finally saw the school dormitory ahead of me. Oh, hey, there we go. Nice, thank you. Oh, damn. Okay. Whoa, that screen is much brighter. Holy shit. Where was I? Screaming fervently until I finally saw them speed. I flew into the dorms at top speed and headed straight to Matsuda's room. At a time like this, the only person I can rely on is Matsuda. As I ran through the corridors, flipping through my notebook in search of Matsuda's room, I recalled another memory that was written down in it. Unless you have a good reason, you're not allowed to visit Matsuda's room at all. But if this wasn't a good reason, then I don't know what is. It was an unprecedented state of emergency, and so I ignored the warning. After flipping through the notebook some more, I finally remember what Matsuda's room is and managed to reach it before I forgot again. Bang, 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 bang! As soon as I reached the door, I knocked on it with all my strength and screamed, Matsuda! It's an emergency! But no matter how long I waited, the door didn't show any sign it was gonna open. Matsuda, come on, Matsuda! I continued my violent, desperate knocking, beginning to lose hope that he would appear. I pounded and yelled, and after a while, a door finally opened. Honestly, am I gonna do this voice? Or are you gonna do it?
You read all of it. That's how we've been doing it.
That's that.
The last 6. Yep.
I thought you did the male
I
voices.
spent 2 hours editing it. Yeah, we just read everything.
Okay. Honestly, who is it? But the door that opened was the room next to Matsuda's. Wait, huh? It was strange. There was no one there. The door was open and I even heard a person's voice, but no one was there. Hey, what's going on? You're being very noisy. Someone's voice echoed quietly in the hall, and even more surprisingly, it was a kid's voice. I looked around once more, but there was still no one. Hey, big sis, where are you looking? I'm right here. Where are you? I turned to face the empty hallway and yelled, show yourself. Once again, I could only hear a voice. I'm not hiding anywhere. I'm right here in front of you. You just haven't noticed me yet. I took a deep breath and waited for my pounding heart to calm down. Then I properly concentrated on my environment. That's when I saw him. Oh, you finally noticed me. In front of my eyes stood a small young boy that looked almost like a cartoon Cupid. I don't feel bad. I was born with a weak sense of presence. No one notices me at first. I'm used to it by now, so don't let it bother you. The boy had the clean voice of someone yet to reach puberty. His face was surprisingly featureless, the kind of face that you draw if you were told to doodle a child without using a reference. His complete lack of distinguishing features was, in a way, its own distinguishing feature? So, what's wrong? What's wrong about what? Hey, when you're assaulting someone's door in the middle of the night and screaming bloody murder, you can't go asking about what at this time of the night even insomniacs would be asleep. He held a paper bag crammed with sweet pastries in his hands, fit for the unending appetite of someone still in his growth period. A logo reading Hansel and Gretel was printed on it. Presumably the bakery's name. He took a pastry out of the bag, crammed in his mouth, and said, Can you repeat that? The boy swallowed the pastry. I said, well, what's wrong? How about you tell me about it? I may be able to help. As he urged me to share on any details, the boy looked me over as if appraising. His eyes especially lingered on my chest and legs. Before that, I have one question of my own. What's a kid doing here? Are you visiting your brother or sister here, or?
Maybe that's fucking territory, because I'm assuming.
Oh, well, at first I was actually thinking of the character that we're on right now.
Oh, the tennis player.
Yeah.
I don't know if they went to Hope's Peak.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of past that.
That's true. I'm Yuto Kamishiro from Hope Peak Academy 7th class. Pleased to meet you.
I have no idea.
No. Huh? I may not look like one, but I'm a high school student. Don't worry, I already have hair growing in all the right places. Oh my.
It's always the pearls, isn't it? God, I think.
You dumbass.
The mute button is so far away. You ever think about that the mute button is just so fucking far away?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Don't act so surprised. Anyway, I've introduced myself, so can you at least tell me your name? Sure. I held my notebook up to the boy's face, the cover facing toward him. Huh, well, opened? Opened? Open? What kind of a word is that?
I think it's just a typo, honey. Please don't focus on it.
The boy from the other side of the notebook. That's one way to introduce yourself. Ryoko Otanashi. Not a bad name, if I may say so myself. My patience practically leveled up from waiting for you to introduce yourself, though. He gave an innocent laugh between that and his appearance. I couldn't see anything but an elementary school student. Well then, suddenly his expression matured. What kind of trouble have you gotten yourself involved in? His eyes glittered with curiosity. No, rather, they glared with curiosity. And not just curiosity alone, they radiated something much more greedy, more calculating, more fanatical. You seem to be in such a panic, I can only assume you saw something pretty terrible. Staring at me with an aura that felt at odds with his youthful appearance. He thrust his hand into the paper bag once again and chose another pastry. Oh, sweet! Ebisu pumpkin melon bread. His face spread into a wide, innocent grin once more as he happily stuffed the pastry into his mouth. So, what is it? What kind of trouble? I wouldn't call it trouble exactly. It's just that I have something I need to discuss with Matsuda, who's in the room over here. I didn't quite get that. Kamishiro gulped the pastry down. Matsuda is out. Out? Yeah, out. What? My sudden cry reverberated through the dorm's empty corridor. No way. He can't be. He can't. He sure as hell picked a great time to disappear. You can yell all you like. It's not going to make him suddenly be home. Despite my emotional panic, Kamishiro just calmly continued nibbling on a pastry. His neuroticism is pretty well known among the 77th class. There's no way he wouldn't notice someone kicking that hard on his door. I'm in the next room over and even I noticed and came out to see what's going on. But if he's not here, then where is he? Maybe he's still in his lab? He pulls all-nighters over there pretty often. Got it! His lab! I turned around and started to run. Hey, wait! Kamishiro stopped me. Don't tell me you plan to go there now. Did you forget? At this time of night, the East District's blocked with an iron fence and security sensors. I don't think you can get in. I can't? In other words, I can't get Matsuda to save me? You've got to be kidding me. I was at my wit's end. Oh no, what am I gonna do? This is the biggest crisis I've ever had. Why don't you let me help you then? Kamishiro faced me, his expression calm. I can't leave a troubled woman with a cute face such as yours all alone, so what's the situation? Tell me everything. Situation? Well, it's... Huh? I mean, it's... What was it again? It seems that while I was at my wit's end, I had forgotten what I was at my wit's end for.
Man, this chick has really bad ADHD.
Yeah, she is. Oh, wait just a moment. I hurriedly checked my notebook. You really don't have to hide anything. If it wasn't actually that serious, then you shouldn't be pounding on the door like you did. You're acting like they find a dead body in Kendaichi case files. Dead body. Right as Kamishiro said those words, I found the same phrase in my notebook. In a second, my spirit was crushed and suffocated and I stopped breathing. Hey, what's wrong? You look like you saw a ghost, big sis. I was still in shock from my resurrected memory of finding a body and couldn't breathe. In order to escape from being suffocated, I whispered one sentence to myself. This has nothing to do with me. I repeated it again and again. Nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. For me, the words were like a magical enchantment. Each time I whispered them, the world slowed down a little, truly magical words. That's right, nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. After repeating the words a few more times, I finally managed to calm myself down. As my breath steadied, I began to close my notebook when my eyes carelessly read over the next written memory. At the foot of the dead body was Ryoko Otanashi's memory notebook. In that moment, I screamed louder than ever before. Oh, I forgot! My notebook had been dropped in that small puddle. Even if I convinced myself that this had nothing to do with me, if they found a notebook with my name in it, it would be impossible to convince anyone else. I'd be pulled onto center stage in front of a faceless audience and handed some kind of cruel punishment. This is bad. My heart began violently pounding once more. What do I do? What do I do? Everything was breaking down. The world itself was breaking down, crumbling beneath my feet. I had to do something about that notebook before everything completely collapsed. Spurred by that sense of urgency, I took off at full speed. Hey, Big Sis Wade, a voice called from behind my back. If you're in trouble, please let me help. If you want to help, tell Matsuda to look for me when he comes back. Bye. I yelled without looking back as I ran through the corridor and out of the dorms. I ran all the way through the South District without stopping to catch my breath and climbed over the iron fence with that same momentum. At full speed, I made my way through the pitch black darkness out into the Central Plaza. I ran so fast I didn't even notice my breath was running out. Finally, I reached the fountain once more. I had made it, but... Huh? A strange sense of discomfort ran through my body. I strained my eyes, scanning the scene over and over again. Oh, something strange here. I opened my notebook to check my memories again, the one thing I can trust in my own brain. So when faced with such a discomforting scene, my first thought was to doubt myself, but I discovered an old man's dead body at the fountain of the Central Plaza. That memory, properly written down in the notebook, affirmed my gut feeling. The cause of my discomfort was this scene in front of my eyes. There was no dead body. That's why. It was strange to find a body here, and now it's strange not to find one. Strangeness upon strangeness. The very definition of strange. Really alive? Was he undead? I didn't understand what was going on, so I scanned my surroundings once more. Something lay at the base of a nearby tree. It was the notebook. The one with Ryoko Otonashi's memory notebook written on the cover. Wait. Huh? Why is my notebook here? As I considered the thought, I approached the notebook to pick it up. Ta-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I flinched, and as I turned around, my body trembled. Standing right behind me was a girl. I know. So you finally decided to show up. She was striking a daunting pose, her arms folded over her chest. She appeared to be around the same age as me. She had flashy makeup on, and as though she just jumped straight off the pages of a fashion magazine. Her blonde hair was tied into two soft, sizable pigtails. Her cleavage was spilling out of her partially unbuttoned uniform. Who this is. And her embarrassingly short skirt revealed a pair of long, slender, fair legs. At first, she seemed just like a normal, cute girl, but her eyes alone were a million light years divorced from normal. These deep, dark eyes were like a bottomless swamp, and it almost seemed like even the darkness of the night could easily be swallowed inside them. The moment I saw those eyes, warning signals started flashing violently in my mind. Every fiber in my body screamed at me to run away, but at the same time I was captured by the despair-inducing idea that resistance was futile. In the end, I just stood there, transfixed, unable to move. Hey, why are you ignoring me? Are you a mute character or something?
Yeah, I didn't know what version you was going to do.
I'm going to do the I could do the California voice.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to stick to my Harley voice for her.
Okay.
She had a smile on her face, but it was the wicked smile of the all-powerful, the kind flash at the helpless and weak. Ah, I get it. She suddenly raised her voice and thrust her index finger straight at my forehead. I know what you're thinking. I know what you've been thinking ever since you saw me with my arms crossed. You've been thinking, I never really cross my arms like that anymore, but it's not my fault some girls' boobs are just too big to do that. So rude. Women who brag about their boobs like that are the worst. By the way, did you know the world's current obsession with their boobs is nothing more than a shitty fantasy born out of trash games and anime and late-night TV? Ugh, gross. Totally gross. You even know what kind of guys are obsessed with boobs? I'll tell you. You know those girls who are considered a hot commodity in their hometowns and then go out to the big city where they're not popular anymore, so they end up taking off their clothes for anyone who gives them the time of day. It's the guys who see she's just an airhead girl with a good ass whose virginity they can take without much work. These are the ones so obsessed with boobs, changing the subject for a second, aren't virgins the worst? If it wasn't for the virgin megastores, there would be nothing about the world at all. Even then, most of them got closed down, and yet it's still a million times better than actual virgins. And what I was talking about? Oh, that's right. The fact that such a big business had to close is, hey, wait a sec, ow! Offended that I tried to cut her off in the middle of her rant, she pressed her index finger into my forehead, making me stop. Oh, man. Wait, now I remember. We were talking about the obsession with boobs. You know, I hate being pushy, but you should really drop that boob obsession of yours. Oh my God, I don't know how to say that. Droppez cette obsession, if you prefer, en français. I mean, if you don't drop it, they're just gonna be in the trouble when you're older. Do you get it?
The larger they are, the more they'll sag. Or maybe you're one of those people who end up winning out against the forces of gravity. Can you defy gravity? Is Magneto gonna scout you out? I mean, I guess it's possible, but he's... ... Please stop for a I tried to stop her by being more insistent, but this time she shoved her finger straight into my mouth, rendering me ineffective once more. But por favor. Wait, that's not it. What's that thing you say when you want someone to be quiet? Well, whatever. In any case, shut up and stop interrupting me. I really love talking, you know. You should act like a good mute girl and just stay silent. It's my turn now. I don't understand the thing you're saying. Saliva started flowing out of my mouth, running through her fingers and dropping in a thin thread onto the ground. She didn't seem to mind at all.
It's very descriptive for some reason.
Seemed to mind it all, though.
I don't know why.
By the way, what's your name, mute girl? Hey. She tilted her head, looking displeased. Don't mumble. Say your name properly. If you don't answer in 3 seconds, I'm going to follow the 3-second rule and rip your tongue out. I hadn't even finished talking when she grabbed my tongue with her fingers. They dug in, gripping like a vice. Okay, 1. She started the countdown. Wait, this isn't a joke. Every pore in my body suddenly opened, making me sweat profusely. Wait, I can't talk if she's holding my tongue. 2. Suddenly, I remembered the notebook I held in my hand. I thrust it out in front of her empathetically. Ryoko Tanashi, huh? But that's too bad. Her mouth curled into a wide, demonic smile as she laughed. I told you to say your name, didn't I? I never said anything about showing it to me. What?
What?
What? Well, it's been 3 seconds, so I'll be taking your tongue now.
You're really enjoying this while I'm up here, huh?
Yeah, I guess I am. With every bit of strength I resisted, but her nails cruelly wedged their way into my tongue. The iron-like taste of blood mixed with my saliva, and as it filled my mouth, the will to fight rapidly drained from my body. Her eyes, staring blankly into my own, were overthrown with dark despair that seemed to squeeze that hope I had left straight out of me. At that moment, I finally came to accept that resistance was useless. The last of my strength left my body, and my notebook slipped away from my hand. I let my body relax and abandoned hope. Suddenly, I heard a laughing voice. With an ecstatic expression on her face, her cheeks flushing red, she laughed a bizarre, mad, overwhelming laugh. When that merciless roar of laughter came to a stop, she finally removed her fingers from my mouth. Coughed madly, spit mixed with blood dripping from my mouth. I was totally joking. Come on. Who'd ever want your tongue anyway? What do you think I am? Some kind of savage? I bet you're wondering why I do something like that, huh? Honestly, I wanted to see that face of yours filled with despair. You see, for me, that's the kind of introduction you can give. I was still leaning forward, gasping for breath. She wiped her saliva-drenched hands on my back and continued talking in a serious tone. By the way, I haven't introduced myself yet, have I? Scroll. A bit surprised, I finally stood upright and a bad feeling slowly overwhelmed me. My intuition was telling me to stay far away from this girl, but she didn't stop. Instead, she proudly announced her name. Wait, the fuck is that name?
I don't know.
That's not Junko.
I don't know. I assumed it was Junko.
I assumed it was too.
Because, like, every single description, you know what I mean?
Wait a minute.
There's more.
My name is Tankujo Lapeta. Tankujo Lapeta. Okay. Not really. I'm just joking. Is this really the time for jokes? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, is this really the time for jokes, right? It was like she could read my mind. Jokes are great, aren't they? It was Ito Hirobumi who said, only a man who has a sense of humor can live in this world without growing mad. You know? That was a lie. Hirobumi never said that. I had no idea how to reply. Instead, I just waited for her to finally tell me her name. For real this time.
I'm just saying that this version of Junko, in the book, at least, is a lot more like Monokuma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the Monokuma just going off on a fucking tangent.
Yeah.
For 5 minutes, like, clearly this is where Monokuma got it from, is from Junko. So,
obviously.
but yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah, Puddin'. I do. Oh, my lord. My name is Junko Inashima.
She said the line!
I go by the title
No!
of Ultimate Fashionista. Sometimes I'm a charismatic fashion model with an adoring audience. At other times, I'm a charismatic... Oh, that was still a secret. Sorry. As she announced herself, she basked in the glow of the street. Looks like an actress in the spotlight. Junko Inashima. Though I couldn't read her thoughts, my own brain understood that I shouldn't get involved with her. My body began acting on its own without realizing it, and I picked up my notebook and I wrote her name on it. Oh. And what's that you doing? Inashima asked with a curious look on her face. This is, I hesitated, unable to think of a good enough answer. No, come on. Don't tell me you're gonna turn into a mute girl again and keep it a secret. She puffed her cheeks as if she were a little girl trying to show her frustration. I couldn't help but admire how effortlessly her face moved from one expression to the next.
So she's doing the multiple personality thing.
Yeah.
It's like, so she's now doing like the uwu.
Uwu.
You know what I mean? Oh, you don't want to show me your notebook? Oh, whoa.
I'm trying to decide whose voice that is. Mute character. Fashion.
Oh,
Is it supposed to be Junko?
pretty sure it's Junko.
Yeah. The mute characters have grown out of fashion, you know. Besides, humans have such good conversational skills, so not using them is kind of a waste, don't you think? This isn't a conversation, though. Everything you're saying is too cryptic for... You should address me by my proper name. Haven't I just introduced myself? She chided me, flat, threatening tone. Miss Inashima, I haven't understood anything you've been saying. Miss? Stop being so formal. I really hate that kind of thing. But I just met you a few minutes ago. I shouldn't be rude. Which makes us complete strangers? You're totally wrong. I mean, we're pen pals, aren't we? Pen pals? You've read my letter, didn't you? Isn't that why you're here? A letter? What letter is she talking about? I quickly checked my notebook and quickly remembered, and then as soon as I did, I raised my voice in surprise. So it was you who... That's right. I'm the beautiful kidnapper who took your memories hostage.
Wow, Junko taking someone's memories? This has never happened.
But why? Hey, you can just keep asking questions. Think for yourself. So I guess you really wanted to help me and Matsuda? That had nothing to do with it. Wanted to keep me and Matsuda. That had nothing to do with it at all. I tried my best to think of a reason, and yet she rejected it in one swift and threatening motion. Well, whatever. I just don't feel like telling you yet. As she was speaking, Inashima picked up the notebook, and she was still lying beneath the nearby tree, ignoring the wet cover and stuffing it into her cleavage. It's too bad, but I'm keeping this for a little while longer. I can't let you take it from the crime scene. Hey. Inashima's eyes suddenly widened in surprise. Huh? She turned her head to look all around, calling out as if she were mad. It's gone! Gone! What's gone? I asked timidly, confused by her sudden change. It's gone! Gone? Isn't that weird? There's nothing here. Why? She paced around the circumference of the trees, repeating her cries like a broken record. So tell me what's gone, I pressed again in a stronger tone of voice. She finally turned back toward me, but her face was utterly expressionless. Then she replied in a light monotone voice, speaking as though if it were something trivial like a dropped coin. The dead body. Body that was dead. The body that had died. That was here. Isn't here anymore. Huh? Oh, have you forgotten already? Honestly, even forgetfulness. You saw that body yourself, didn't you? A new question came into my head. Wait, how did you know I'm forgetful? Have I told you? That doesn't matter. Anyway, there's no mistake. There was definitely a body here before. Inashima's raised her voice, brushing my question aside. You've got to believe me. There was a dead body here earlier. I should know. I killed him myself. Huh? Oh. My body suddenly went rigid. I mean, I came up behind him and I just hung him up with my own two hands. You know, he actually wet his pants a little. Honestly, old men like him should be wearing diapers, just in case. If they did, it would have been way more of a relief for me. Huh? I felt as if a spell of confusion had cast upon me. Inashima, on the other hand, went on gesticulating enthusiastically as she spoke. It's a little embarrassing. But some of it got on my skirt, so I had to go to the bathroom to wash it off. But while I was gone, the dead body seems to have totally disappeared. Just slipped away. Well, it's my fault, really, getting so surprised from a little piss like that. But anyway, that notebook I picked up just now was covered in piss. Huh? I mean, I worked so hard so I could make an example out of him. Seriously, who did that? Huh? Hey. You've been doing that for a while now. Are you trying to be like those ditzy characters that always so popular? Huh? Or maybe you're just an idiot. It was useless. Thoughts I couldn't even form into words ran around inside my head, causing a terrible grating headache. I didn't understand a thing she said or did. She just admitted to killing someone, right? Why would she say that to someone she just met? Are you wondering why I'd confess that to someone I just met? She hit the bullseye once more. That should be obvious. You're gonna help me. Huh? A vague yet extraordinary anxiety unfolded over my entire body. Me. Help you. Wait a second. I can't get involved in something like that. Huh? I said I can't get involved in something like that. Huh? I said, stop stressing out so much. You're ruining your ditzy character archetype. That's not it. In that case, let me ask you a question. Say you're making an instant ramen. You're putting boiling water in there and wait 3 minutes, right? But if someone comes and asks you how come it's 3 minutes, what's gonna be your answer? You can't answer that, can you? My thoughts reached a state of unprecedented turmoil. What are you talking about? Don't change the... I'm not changing the subject, it's just the same. Inashima countered with a strong tone of voice. I've decided you're gonna do what I tell you to. That's just how things are. There's no further explanation. Although, I'm not proud of it, but I always get too impatient and give up before the 3 minutes are up. People think I have a thing for hard noodles, but it's actually nowhere near that complicated. Well, you get it now? My cognition clattered and collapsed, and the inside of my brain turned completely to rubble. All that was left was a large number of question marks. I didn't understand her at all. That was the one and only thing I knew for sure. Honestly, it's easier to perform the superhuman feat of making it to the Olympics than it is to understand others perfectly. I know that. But either way, her case was extraordinary. I knew from the beginning that I shouldn't get involved with her. But it's probably not too late yet. That's right. I should run away. Having finally arrived at such a simple answer, I promptly backed away from her, kicked powerfully off the ground, and set off dashing away from danger. Then almost immediately, I found myself colliding head-on with Inashima. What the...
Also, welcome in. I don't know if that was just doing just the way I'm on. But the blank or blank? I think it's blank. Blank.
Blank. Oh my god.
There's a microphone there. Oh boy. Yo, Taylor.
I fell down landing on my behind with such force that my entire body went numb aside from the immediate pain. When I looked up, Inashima stood on the path blocking my way. I never even saw her move, and yet somehow she appeared behind me before I even started running. Teleportation? Yeah, I prefer Shikuchi Jiu-Jitsu. I kind of like the pop culture vibe, you know? My entire being felt beaten and bruised. No matter what I did, I wouldn't be able to escape her. I might have convinced myself that this had nothing to do with me, but she wouldn't allow such a thought.
I think you misunderstood the situation, don't you think?
Inashima crouched down and peered into my exhausted eyes. Alarms went off everywhere inside my head. I mustn't look into her eyes. Nevertheless, I couldn't avert my gaze.
It's like I told ya. It doesn't matter if you want to or not. What matters is what Junko Inashima wants, that's all. That's why even thinking about running from Junko Inashima is stupid. The whole world is Junko Inashima's playground. And everyone in it is just living in it on a borrowed time. I don't just mean like what's yours is mine. I mean you yourself are mine. This whole planet is just Junko Inashima's plaything.
Like, I am a planet. Is Ego the living planet now? She is just like, I am this planet.
What?
It was the most evil, extraordinary, egotistical doctrine, the kind that causes you to feel sick. If she really meant all that, then I have to resent my own lack of luck from running into her.
Well, whatever. Getting back on topic, the dead body. As she bounced upright and shifted her weight to the other leg, she directed a new question at me. By the way, do you know what Hope's Peak Academy Steering Committee is?
Committee.
Hope's Peak Academy Steering
Oh, that's her voice. Hope's Peak Academy Steering Committee. Just to make sure, I checked my notebook, but I couldn't find mention of that phrase anywhere. It seemed honestly I knew nothing about them. But if she suddenly is mentioning it, then...
Smells like you haven't. Oh, that's do-over. Looks like you haven't.
Inashima spread both her hands in a grandiose? Oh, wow, I was off on that. Grandiose matter, as if she were the host of a game show.
Ding ding. That's right. The dead body that should have been here was a member of the steering committee. Those guys have way more power than the teaching staff and the headmaster. That means they're practically in charge of the place. Doesn't that get you excited?
Clearly, the only one growing excited, Inashima continued.
But there's no need to grieve. I mean, him getting killed here is just the way things are meant to be. Yep, it was all decided since the very beginning. That's why no matter how much they try to hide that little incident, it's pointless. Incident?
I asked without thinking. It was a gut response. I can only chalk up to the thoughtlessness. The moment it came out of my mouth, I was bewildered by the fact that I even asked it.
Oh my, you're interested in it. I can't blame you. One can only listen to such a vague name like the incident so many times before curiosity takes over.
Are we talking about the tragic incident of Hope's Peak
It's
Academy?
like, oh boy, here we go. I think like they're just really drawing attention to the worst, most terrible event of Mukuro Ikusaba the sixth in somewhere in the school. Yeah.
With that, Inashima struck a pose, her hands on her hips and her chest puffed high, and declared loudly,
"The tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. That's the incident I was talking about."
The moment I heard those words, a strange heat filled my head. What? A tingling sensation paralyzed my consciousness entirely. At the same time, as though manipulated by a puppeteer, I absentmindedly wrote those words in my notebook. Tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy.
Yep, write everything down, you hear? That's a good girl.
Inashima laughed in satisfaction as she watched me.
You know, you'd make a great temp, since you always have to write it down, all the crap they tell you on the first day. But if someone tried to order me to do something like that, I'd send them straight to hell. I'm not even kidding. Straight hell. First, I'd destroy their family and their friends and acquaintances, and then, when they're fully immersed in despair, I'll wait until they come beg me themselves to kill them. By the way, who are you?
Eh? I looked up from my notebook in surprise and saw that the scowl on her face had grown considerably. Her scathing eyes cut through me, looking towards something behind my back. I turned around, glancing behind myself, but saw nothing but deep black trees in the night darkness. Despite my seeing no one, Inashima's face, the darkness, and asked again in an annoyed voice,
"Hey, I asked who you are. Aren't you listening?"
Suddenly, I saw something moving in my peripheral vision. A moment later, something emerged, swaying up slowly from a gap in the dense foliage.
Eh?
With the jet black scenery was a white mask. No, it was a human face, as pale as though it were covered in white paint. Is this the random person's voice, I assume?
I guess.
Ah, you found me. Along with the voice, a man's silhouette became apparent within the darkness. He had a long, slender body, much like a snake sketching. Is this going to be Nagita? No.
That motherfucker shows up in this book. I'm not going to even read his lines.
Oh my god. Slender body, much like a snake stretching upwards, clad in a black school uniform, pitch black, hair matched it, running down past his shoulders, black upon black. The white face peeking from the inky blackness had small, thin lizard eyes carved into it. My name is Ishiki Madarai. Madarai?
Madarai? I think so.
Yeah. As he spoke, I could hardly see his mouth move.
Is that so? Well, that's nice and all, but that's such a lame name. Junko Inoshima is 10 billion times cooler. I took a sidelong glance at Inoshima, who was roaring back at him behind me. She didn't seem much affected by the situation and flashed a regular, unnerved, overconfident smile. That is indeed troubling. I have such pride in my name, although that is not the only thing troubling me at present. Oh, and what's that? I was hoping to talk to you when you were alone, but well, if it's come to this, I guess I have no choice. Muttering beneath his breath, Matter withdrew what seemed to be a photograph from his pocket. His lizard-like eyes slid back and forth between us and the photo. I see. So you're Junko Inoshima. And what is your business with Junko Inoshima? She answered without even blinking. I have heard a certain rumor. Was it about how Junko Inoshima is transcendently, hopelessly beautiful with no equal? That may be the case, but no. Madurai paused for a moment and then continued in a drastically different tone of voice. Was Junko Inoshima not involved in the incident? And that's what you want to talk about. I'm sorry, no can do. Inoshima wasn't unnerved in the least, nor did she lose her carefree smile. That's not something a small fry like you has any right to talk about. Know your place. I thought you'd say that. Well, I guess I won't get what I want that easily. And what are you gonna talk about? What are you gonna do about it? Let me guess, you have ways of making me talk? Kinda old-fashioned, isn't it? That sort of crap only happens in straight-to-video action movies. I may be old-fashioned, but I should tell you I'm not the type to go easy on you just because you're a woman. Don't expect me to play nice. Madurai's coercive glare shot through us. Oh no, I've lost my place. Inoshima and Madurai glared at each other in a way that almost made the ground itself shake. This has nothing to do with me, right? This is an issue between that boy who called himself Ishiki Madurai and that girl who called herself Junko Inoshima. I'm not involved at all. So it's okay for my body to stop shaking with fear now, right? Well then, I hope you two are prepared because... Wait a second. That's okay. I raised my trembling voice. Both Inoshima and Madurai turned their eyes toward me at the same time. It's strange that you said you too just now, right? After all, you have business with... I can't have one of you running away now, can I? Anyone involved with Junko Inoshima is likely to have something to do with the incident themselves, said Madurai, licking his lips. You've only yourself to blame for getting involved with her. I've been hearing nothing but complaints about this girl, and yet I came prepared for one, and now I have to deal with two. That's twice labor. But you don't see me complaining, so why don't you just keep it to yourself? What? That was some messed up reasoning. No, it wasn't even close to being reasoning at all. It was just overwhelmingly egotistical. But still not as egotistical as she was, I supposed. Good?
I'm just... reading chat.
Okay.
So we will sort these.
I get it. You've definitely got that can-do attitude, but you see, this girl here has a can-kill attitude, said Inoshima, stroking my head. Wait, what girl is she talking about? Hey, now's not the time to get all ditzy again. I'll see you later. Huh? See who when? Your face looks just like a fur seal's. That's hilarious, but now's not the time for that. Go ahead and fight him already. That's your role here, you know. Did she say fight him? Well, what are you talking about? I screamed, brushing her hand off the top of my head as I flailed my arms. No, it's fine. You're a girl who can do anything you want to. You can even kill when you want to, you know. Hey now, don't speak with such twisted words talking about killing. That's not something healthy high school girls should talk about. Madurai's face became distorted with a wry smile. Oh, you're not a fan of mutual killing. Inoshima scoffed. Huh, you're not prepared at all. I'm a little disappointed. It's only natural. What use are you, me, dead? I still have so many stories to hear. At the very least, I'll try to keep your mouths working. Madurai showed his lizardy eyes even more and repeated himself, emphasizing his words, but just the mouths. Where is this story going? I'm
know.
A little scared at the moment.
It's not going in the direction of your normal book. So.
I'm not here.
But his slender body stood tall and swayed like the flame of a candle slowly moving towards us.
I guess he really is eager.
Of course I am. I've been waiting for this moment ever since the incident. Matarai held a tightly gripped fist to his chest. It was rugged and coarse, not matching his snake-like body at all. I felt as though being hit with that fist would cave my face in, just like a comic book character. What do we do? What do I do? My eyes filled with tears as I turned to look at the girl behind me. Should have known.
You should have known it. Can't really be helped, Inashima murmured in a low, stiff voice.
Then she suddenly shifted back to her loud, unusually empathetic tone.
You're up.
Wait!
Don't worry, you're gonna be just fine. Inashima pulled me into a hug from behind. I'm gonna help you, of course. We'll have you display the full extent of your talent in no time.
Huh?
Talent? My talent? Hey, when you're in trouble, shouldn't you be looking in your notebook?
Yeah. I turned my eyes down in my notebook following Inashima urges, and then whoosh, crack, bang, boom, thump, thud, bam, bam, bam.
Batman Adam West show.
Oh my god. Sounds that would be perfectly at home in an anime echoed around me. Reflexively, I looked back up and what? Inashima, who was just behind me a second ago, was now a few meters ahead, exchanging violent blows in a fierce battle with Matarai. Pow! Wham! Bang! 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 Matarai used his long limbs like whips as he attacked his opponent, the fashionista Inashima. Didn't pull back in the slightest despite her femininity. Where the heck did all this come from? Okay.
Hey, don't just stand there looking like a shocked pig, Inashima yelled at me, all the while swinging her leg around as though she were a professional gymnast. Get riding.
Right. Then she delivered a perfect kick. Sending Matarai down into the lawn with a short grunt. Instantly, he turned his long body in like a spinning top and recovered from his fall before returning with a kick of his own, looking almost as though we were breakdancing. As though he were breaking. Whoops! Inashima dodged with a jump in the air, and Matarai took advantage of the opening to rise back up. Without waiting a single second, he delivered a straight right. Even though he seemed too far for the strike to hit, his bizarrely long arms seemed to ignore the distance. Even so, Inashima blocked and reversed his momentum before thrusting the tip of her right foot directly into his abdomen. A groan spilled from Matarai's mouth, and the two finally stopped moving.
Oh, I won! So that was the crescent moon kick I've been waiting to try it ever since I saw it in the magazine.
Staying a slight distance from the buckled over Matarai, Inashima continued to boast while grinning broadly. In any case, what even caused the schoolyard fight to begin? Am I just forgetting again, or was it really just completely out of nowhere?
Hey, I told you to stop standing there like an idiot.
I was frozen still in place, and Inashima's irritated voice washed over me.
Hurry up and fill in that notebook. Why do you think I'm over here busting my...
In a split second, her expressions shifted. High kick as swift as a whip came up at her behind, sending her thin body flying like a scrap of paper. Oh! I cried instinctively in alarm, turning my gaze to where her body came to a halt. Phew, that was kind of risky. Inashima brought herself up from a kneeling position as though nothing at all. There was no visible damage except for a red mark on her left arm where she must have tried to guard against Matarai's kick. Apparently, I wasn't the only one who thought such a blow should have broken her thin arms. I could see the frustration in Matarai's scowl.
Scared because I'm so strong. Starting to doubt yourself. That's right, I'm the ultimate fashionista and human weapon who hasn't lost in over 300 fights.
She struck a victorious pose. Shut up! Brushing away her words in anger, Matarai immediately rushed at her once more. Soon the battle resumed in full force, with both using their whole bodies, right hand, right foot, left hand, left foot, rapidly alternating defense.
Cha-cha slide.
Offense to offense, in a hectic exchange of blows. I simply stood watching, unable to move any part of my body but my hand, which is scrawling everything down earnestly in my notebook.
Come on!
Inashima let out a series of exaggerated high kicks as if in response to the one that sent her flying before. But Matarai just twisted his mouth into it. He avoided the kicks and then, with perfect timing, lowered his posture and sprang into a tackle.
His long hand stretched forward, trying to take hold of her waist. And with blinding speed, Inashima's knee sprung up, aiming directly for Madarai's jaw. Yeah! Madarai managed to turn away from his target at the last second, avoiding Inashima's knee by mere millimeters. Regardless, he lost his balance and thrust his hand toward the ground in an attempt to stabilize himself, leaving the right half of his body open with an exaggerating "Hi-ya!" Inashima delivered a spinning kick, which Madarai hastily guarded and failed. The intense blow struck Madarai's right temple. With a dry sound, his slender body slid down the lawn. I totally win. Honestly, I haven't had a dance like that in ages. Inashima laughed loudly. I guess he was all balk and no bite. You should try going back and relearning the basics. You gotta crawl before you can walk. She continued to cackle and got a hand inside pocket and started. Surprisingly, despite the fierce battle she had just taken a part in, her breath was entirely calm. I rushed over to her side and started cheering. You did it! Thank God! For a second there, I was really worried. Inashima's expression in an instant. Huh? She gave me a look of utter disgust. Were you even paying attention? You don't think this is settled yet, do you? I mean, that would be an Armageddon level misunderstanding. What? In the corner of my eye caught a shape slowly rising up from the... It was Madarai. How? Isn't it obvious? The kick shouldn't have sent him flying as far as he did. He just did the same thing I did before. He threw himself back at the same time to reduce injury. Well, I guess I was going too easy on him to begin with. Scourge! The unpleasant sound of scraping metal hit my ears. It seemed to come from Madarai, whose teeth were grinding together hard enough that I almost expected it to cause sparks. Ooh, he's mad, isn't he? I think he's mad. My attention was fixed on Madarai as I turned my nervous voice towards Inashima, who stood hidden behind me. It's fine. It's impossible for you to be taken down by someone on his level. Probably. At least try to sound convincing, I cried. At least try to sound convincing, I cried, glancing quickly at my note. Never take your eyes off, Inashima commanded with a sharp voice. Never take your eyes off the prey. That's the basics of the basics. Prey? But I'm the one who's the prey here, aren't I? Madarai kept grinding his teeth as he advanced towards us, arms outstretched. I was shaking in fear like a frightened rabbit in front of a bloodthirsty poisonous serpent. There was nothing I could do but turn to rely on Inashima once more. What? Madarai suddenly opened his eyes wide and surprised. When did she what? A bad feeling loomed over my entire body and I turned around in fear to look behind me. ... What did she call it again? I looked at my notebook to remind myself. Right. Fukuichi Jujitsu, huh? There was no one behind me anymore. Inashima's figure, shape, and shadow had entirely disappeared. It seems you've been abandoned. I heard the voice call from behind me. I slowly turned back around to find Madarai suddenly standing right before me, looking down with vicious eyes. But there is no need to resent anyone. I shall settle things properly with her later. It is just the order that changed. That's all. Having been handed what sounded like a death sentence, I realized the fundamental error that occupied my thoughts until that moment. I was an idiot for relying on Inashima, but this was no time for complaints. I had to do something. Then, as my faltering eyes turned down to my notebook, I heard Madarai's voice from him. Huh? You must be really confident to read a notebook at a time like this. I couldn't even head up again. I couldn't even grasp the content of what I was reading. But I still flipped through the pages. I couldn't find a breakthrough solution to my problems. But I did my best to come up with an excuse to give me some time. Wait, please. You said you were investigating the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy, didn't you? In that case, I won't be much help to you at all. I mean, I know absolutely nothing about that. How did you know about that? How did you know that then? Turned to ice made me shiver even harder. Know what? All I said before was that I was looking into the incident. Nevertheless, you seem to know I was talking about the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. The sharpness in Madarai's eyes seemed to grow tenfold. My first thought was to gaze my notebook again. See, I just heard the name recently by accident. I didn't know it was an actual thing. Few people here know the name given. Very few. The fact that you said the name, hesitation, farce is. I hit the jackpot. I didn't need to even look anymore. The cruel snake-like eyes. A shiver ran down my spine. Arms stiff. I was completely paralyzed. So, I can't say for sure, of course, but this was probably the first time in my life that I was fully conscious of reality. My mind went completely blank. Duda. I really do love him. But of course the memories don't come pouring in like what I remember are just feelings. So I whispered his name again and again. Martin tried to remember. Matsuda. Matsuda. Huh? Let's try that again. Matsuda. God. Huh? It's strange. Feel any better? I can't remember. Suddenly, my entire body felt static, assaulted by an unprecedented sense of fear and loneliness when I realized I couldn't remember myself. You okay? Are you yawning?
Oh, being simped for, so I had to put my tentacles on.
Oh, okay. Is this what loss feels like? What are you doing?
I'm clicking the wrong hotkey.
At the side of my eye, I'm just like seeing you do something.
Yeah. You flicker between clothing and non-clothing. So I'm hitting the wrong hotkey.
Really, what you just did? Did you just take my clothes
I
off?
did.
How dare you? Was I bald as well?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. It's strange. I don't feel any better. I can't remember. Suddenly, my entire body felt. I just read that. Is this what loss feels like? It was a hellish feeling like I never felt before. A terrible feeling. As if my body were being torn apart in 1,000 demons. What is it? Your face is terribly pale. Eh? The second I looked back up at Madurai, I understood what was happening. Fear cast over me by the man who stood before me and had taken control over all my emotions. That's why I couldn't remember my feelings for Matsuda. He looked like someone's about to attack me, back with his own awful joke. Matsuda. Even swallowed by dread, I continued whispering inside my heart. I whispered desperately over and over again, trying to keep any semblance of fear from showing my face. Matsuda's name had become a prayer. I want to see Matsuda's face. I want to hear Matsuda's voice. I want to smell Matsuda's scent. I want to touch Matsuda. I want to eat Matsuda. I want to meet Matsuda. I want to meet Matsuda. Suddenly something changed. My heart leapt and began to beat loudly. Blood pumped through my body at breakneck. A sudden sense of warmth melted the fear that was keeping my body frozen. I want to meet Matsuda. I repeated the mantra several more times.
Jesus Christ!
And soon completely forgot about the fear that was controlling my feelings. I want to meet Matsuda. I want to meet Matsuda. I want to meet Matsuda. I want to meet Matsuda.
I want to take a shot every time this book says I want to meet Matsuda.
Huh? Madurai quickly perceived the sudden change and put some distance between us immediately. Despite his looks, he was a cautious man. Somehow, I had regained my composure enough to make that observation. Keeping collected, I turned back to read my notebook once again from the beginning. My eyes stopped in the very first page. There was an explanation regarding my talent written there. It's strange that I never noticed it until now. It must be the power of love Matsuda granted me. I'm going to meet Matsuda. I'm going to meet Matsuda. It was no longer just my heart's desire, it was my entire purpose, reigniting a flame within me. You move now, I declared to Madurai, raising my head from the notebook. I'm going to meet Matsuda. Who the hell is that? Never mind that. What made you liven up so fast? Love, of course, I cried in
It's the
triumph.
ultimate simp.
Without the slightest bit of shame. The power of my love for Matsuda. I agree that love is not something to be trifled with. It drives people to do insane things at stupid times, but even so, you're making no sense. In any case, don't stand in my way, I scowled fiercely. Or maybe you're just desperate now? That will be a bother. You can never know what desperate people are going to do. It doesn't matter. If they're weak or strong, it's always a bother. Shut up and move already. Truly a strange woman. He leaned slightly forward and crouched into a low posture. Must have been preparing for a counterattack, but that has nothing to do with me. Something like that cannot hope to extinguish the red-hot flame burning inside me. I'm going to meet Matsuda. I'm gonna meet Matsuda. I'm going to meet Matsuda. I stepped forward, defenseless but determined, my hand still holding the open notebook. In response, Madurai lowered his center of gravity even further and fist back to his waist. He was ready. I was right. He really did have a cautious personality. But because of that, I stopped mid-stride, loudly asserting myself. Checkmate, Cheeky Madurai. What the hell? That's a rather... Okay. Check, Cheeky Madurai. I couldn't think of anything else to say, so I repeated the same. A wild animal about to pounce. Slowly lowered my own gravity, much like Madurai. I concentrated my entire body's strength on my legs, and as soon as I had all accumulated, released it all at once. I kicked the ground violently with every bit of stored energy I had, and I began running with explosive force in the other direction. He was still in the alert. Hey! I heard Madurai's bewildered voice far behind me. It seemed like he was fully unprepared for something. As my feet carried me, I opened my notebook again and checked the first page that explained my time. That's right. My one and only way to come out of this situation. I don't remember it though, so it still doesn't feel quite real. After a short while, I could hear the footsteps not far behind me, chasing me. In that moment, I decided to put my predictions. What was the man chasing me? I'm pretty sure he's... Oh, okay. Picture.
There we go, yeah. Well, show this, because a whole screen. You can actually see the page art. So that's the guy that's been fighting this entire time?
Baby.
He's a snake man.
Chapter 7.
Okay.
I get to take a break.
Yeah, you want to go? Well, I'm going to press on the stuff. Okay, a couple. Just in a second. I still hear talking. Water.
You didn't say that out loud,
maybe
bro.
I thought it.
What the fuck?
I sent it to you with my mind powers.
Not strong anymore.
Wow. I am weakened. I'm dehydrated. I know you can't see. I am working out something. Hoping. Work out. There's a blending mode.
Oh, so you like the whole thing on this?
I wanted to do it where it would be like just the text. If I could use a blending mode. That. I mean, where it's like kind of there but not. Like if it was white, it'd be great. Got multiply there, so it's kind of there now. No, I mean... Why? Doing anything for me? Oh, nah. God. Hoping I'd be able to invert. Way to invert on OBS?
Don't you? Buzz.
Way too much work. And it's like, bro, why is it? We're about to start. Whole bunch of things already in it. Oh, I see. There we go. So now if I do that, and yeah, that works, right? And it works? What? Because white shows up better. Black?
Yep.
I wish there was a way for me to outline it. Maybe there is. I didn't know that this is a thing that you could do on the video thing. But I guess this is going to work for now. Works. But put it here.
Because it would bottom to top, wouldn't it? Goes from bottom to top, or
What are we on about bottoms and tops for? What?
I mean, the words are going to scroll up above us.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think just having it center works.
Yeah.
issue is having that happens, you know? But I feel like having it white text works a bit better than... I turn off... I mean, it's not as good, is it? Do it that way. Works, right? There we go, guys. Look,
There's words.
all that work for words. But I think this looks good. Like, you can actually see what we're reading now a bit better. Are you gonna keep reading, or?
Want me to?
Yeah, I think you're better at reading. Genuinely, my dyslexia is terrible.
Are you kidding? Mine gets in the way too. Oh God. Okay. I don't get this girl at all, Jiki Madurai muttered to himself as he gave chase. It wasn't that he hadn't been cautious, quite the opposite actually, but it hadn't crossed his mind even once that she might run away. In hindsight, he realized that what she did was only natural. A cornered mouse will bite the cat, so the proverb goes, but in reality, it's very rare to find a mouse who would bite a cat. Even if it were seriously injured or dying, a cornered mouse wouldn't stay still. No, its only thought would be still to try and escape. That's just the mouse's true nature. And the girl who turned heel and ran is just the same. In other words, it's in her nature to run away from this. In that case, all I have to do is catch her, and this will be all over. His mouth twisted in a cruel smile. Madurai's face was that of a hunter chasing his prey, but his goal wasn't simple. Relentless predation?
Yes, because he's a predator.
Yes, okay. After I catch her, I'll beat everything she knows about the incident. The tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. Madurai hated that incident and everyone involved in it with a fiery passion. Getting revenge for the tragedy was the only thing driving him more, and finally the chance to do so was within reach. A few hours earlier, he had received an anonymous message with a simple explanation. Junko Inoshima, who knows the secrets behind the incident, will be in the Central Plaza tonight. The possibility of it being a trap had crossed his mind. But it was a risk he was fine taking. Even if it had been a trap, it would have been an opportunity to see who set it up. I will avenge them. I still have to protect someone, so I will avenge them all. There was a flame burning within his eyes the moment he caught sight of his prey ahead of him. His speed increased dramatically. His long hair whipped behind him as he closed the distance between them. In no time at all, he'd be able to reach out his arms. He pushed his left foot strongly into the ground and stretched his long right arm as far out as it would reach. He could feel strands of his prey's hair brush against his fingers for just a moment, and then the prey changed direction with a sharp and unexpected turn, causing him to lose his balance. She had timed her move perfectly, almost as if she was dead. Madurai clicked his red tongue loudly. His long red tongue loudly corrected his stance and gave chase once more. However, he noticed something strange in how the girl before him was running. What the? As his prey was running, she was writing furiously in a notebook. Huh? Is this a JoJo stand?
I don't know. That's what the talents feel like sometimes in the series.
Yeah.
But they're just the bullshit anime powers.
Writing while running? That's clearly impossible,
Nani?
however you look at it.
Nani, she's writing all right.
Madurai was bewildered. He couldn't make sense of her behavior in the least. The thought that his target would be doing anything else at this point other than just fleeing was beyond unexpected. Isn't she just a mouse away from danger? She actually have a plan beyond escaping? But he also thought it could also be a bluff. Just like when she first ran away, she could be taking advantage of his caution and vigilance, widen the gap between them. It didn't matter. Whatever the reason, there was no time for his desire to avenge those who died in the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy was too intense for him to give up now.
He recklessly increased his speed and was soon within reach of his prey once again. This time, it's really gonna. He reached his right hand toward his prey blind spot and grabbed her. Nope. Again, all he grabbed was empty air. More with timing that seemed precisely calculated. His prey suddenly and sharply changed course. Still caught in his own forward momentum, Matarai thrust his arms in front of himself in a panic as a huge tree emerged from the darkness. The palm of his hands were soon met with the coarse bark of the tree as he cursed beneath his breath. What the hell is going on? Matarai kicked off on the ground in anger, soon pursuing at full speed once again. His prey slowly came to and as he reached out, she managed to dodge the escape again. I can't catch her?
Why are you running?
Even as that realization slowly dawned on Matarai, he couldn't explain it. She wasn't even turning her head to look at him. Her eyes were constantly on the notebook. How was she able to avoid his hands reaching at her from behind? She wasn't even avoiding him clumsily. She did it with perfect timing every time. She shouldn't have had any idea of his movement. No, it wasn't even something that simple. She shouldn't have had the skills capable to see everything behind her. It's like she knows what's going to happen in advance. Matarai shook off the thought from his head and accelerated speed again. Soon he was at his prey's defenseless back, reaching out towards the blind spot once again. The moment he was about to grab her, just as expected, the prey dodged his hand and escaped. This time, however, Matarai anticipated it and turned his body sideways to match her movement. He extended both of his long arms and lunged towards his prey in a full tackle. This time, you're mine. Or so he thought. What? It was as if she knew he was going to anticipate her dodge. She crouched, again, with perfect timing, and stayed low to the ground like a turtle, causing Matarai to clumsily twist his body forward as he lunged and crashed violently onto the ground. He lay on the lawn for a short while, unable to move. He wasn't in pain necessarily, but a different kind of damage had been inflicted upon him. What the hell? At long last, he got back on his feet. He shook his hair long from his eyes and searched for his target. There she was, the silhouette of her figure away, far away, already small in the distance. As he watched his escaping prey, Matarai whispered to himself in an incredulous tone. God's sake, please don't. Precognition.
Could you imagine? Is the ultimate sidekick. It also feels very My Hero coded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree. Chapter 8. Continue.
Yeah, I'm enjoying you reading.
Oh my god.
Giving me a break.
Precognition. That's probably what he was thinking. But no such thing exists, of course. It did in dreams, maybe, but no matter how much you ask for something like that in real life, you're not going to just awaken psychic powers in some critical moment. That kind of thing only happens in comic books.
I was going to say, feels very Shonen Jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feels very My Hero and Bleach and JoJo and all that, where they're like, I suddenly have this bullshit power that's going to be explained eventually. But I'm just going to spend the entire time dodging, you know.
So it's not anything as outrageous as precognition, really. They're just predictions.
Bro, she has fucking Ultra Instinct.
Yeah. I quickly analyzed his thoughts, actions, and movements. That's what my notebook taught me my talent was, after all. The ultimate analyst. With that ability, I was able to analyze Matarai's behavioral patterns and his overall way of thinking. From there, I just predicted the moves he would take next. That's all. But even so, that kind of statistical analysis requires a vast amount of data. Without data, you can't predict anything at all. But that's exactly what Ryoko Otonashi's memory notebook is for. I've been extracting patterns from his speech and actions and have been exhaustively writing them down as usable data in my notebook. The battle between Matarai and Enoshima was a particularly important source of data. She attacked Matarai using a variety of techniques, and possibly even let herself get hit on purpose. Now that I think about it, probably trying to show me as many of his attack patterns as she could. I have no idea why someone like Enoshima would do something like that for me, but there's no doubt that's exactly why I was able to predict his behavior so perfectly. Even so, I couldn't possibly predict anything about him based on just a few minutes worth of data. It's just that my only goal at the time was to predict how he was going to behave in a chase scenario. And for that, I had more than enough data. That's how I knew the timing, angles, and techniques he was going to use to try to catch me.
He really is like Deku. No, I mean, a fucking notebook scribbling down attack patterns. Like, well, if I do this and then I do this, then they'll think that I'm going to counter, but I'm going to actually counter-attack their counter-attack. And, you know what I mean? Like, this is just... Also, this isn't a superpower. Like, analyzing someone and predicting how they're going to act. This isn't a superpower or attack. That's just autism, baby.
But my current prediction is that he isn't going to give up just yet. I'm sure he's a bit bewildered after seeing my talent in full swing like that. This is just another prediction. But I'm willing to bet that soon he'll realize that the source of my newfound power was my notebook. It's likely he's going to chase me much more seriously from now on. If that's the case, there's a limit to how long I can use the same strategy. So what should I do? I predict that the answer will probably come to me soon.
I predict that my predictions are going to out-predict my predictions, and then I'm going to predict that I'm going to win. And so I'm going to win, because that's how this bullshit works. Is that if I just predict that I'm going to win, then I always win, right? It's like luck. Luck in Danganronpa is like really bullshit, so it feels like this is also just bullshit.
I continue my mental predictions, relying on the crude map of the central plaza drawn in my notebook to guide my way. Soon I passed the area overgrown with trees and came. Just as expected, there was a small building there. That was my destination. The moment I saw it, fear and bravery began to go inside my head. But I have no choice. I have to forget any fear and anxiety. I have to do it. I have to do it if I want to meet Matsuda. I have to do it. I'm sure I can do it. By the way, that wasn't prediction just now. It was just the moment of enthusiastic optimism.
Oh, and she breaks the fourth wall. Great.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's a long
That was a
scroll.
short chapter.
Yeah, I know.
Madurai had reached a conclusion. There was some kind of secret hiding in that book. Yeah, that must be it. There's no such thing as precognition. She'd been insistently writing in that notebook of hers despite the fact that terrible things would happen to her if she's caught, which meant her secret must be in there. Not that he could even fathom what it would be. Which means I have to destroy that notebook, no matter what. Madurai hadn't always been prone to complicated thoughts. He was often told that contrary to his looks, he was a cautious man, but it wasn't always like that. It was simply necessary for the responsibilities he held. But now those responsibilities have lost their meaning. My fault. It was because I couldn't protect them. The only job that mattered now was finding the culprit responsible for the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy and exacting revenge. I can't afford to just stand around doing nothing, not now. Madurai around from here. The goal was simple. Catch my prey, not hurt her, make her talk. His resolve renewed once more. Madurai ran with all his strength in the direction his prey had fled. He may have lost some time, but it was not yet a fatal loss. Even if she managed to escape, all he had to do was keep chasing her. As long as he didn't give up, it would never be over. Catch, hurt, talk. Madurai repeated those 3 words to himself, slithering through the dark trees and underbrush like a black snake, while paying careful attention to his surroundings as he ran. He spotted a small clearing of open space nearby. He surveyed the area, finding a small prefab shed on the opposite side of the clearing. Light from a street lamp nearby flickered continually, creating an ominous atmosphere right out of a horror movie. It's too suspicious to be perfect. For someone to take refuge in himself, Madurai reduced his speed and moved carefully towards the shed. Its cream-colored walls, roof, would normally be pleasant, calming. But underneath the eerie flickering light, they were almost sickening. He stood before it, peering through the window set in one of those walls to scan the interior. Swaths of dust were illuminated by the lamppost above, along with paint cans, bags of fertilizer that stocked the shelves.
Fertilizer.
It must have been a storage shed for the central plaza, he thought to himself. As he noticed cleaning tools leaning against the walls and shelving, there were no sign of life. But of course, there were countless places someone could hide. Madurai backed away from the window, turned toward the shed's entrance, a thin, light wooden door. He brushed the doorknob with his fingertips. Once he confirmed it wasn't booby-trapped, he turned. It didn't open. Someone must have closed it. Kneeling in place, Madurai paused to examine the high growing around the shed. Most were upright, but a fair amount of them were or otherwise crumpled. Someone had stepped on them recently. That settles it. However, this gave him no peace of mind. Quite the contrary, the cautiousness Madurai had briefly forgotten with full force. So what kind of trap has she prepared for me?
He stood and took in a slow, deep breath. After the exhale, he turned to the door and kicked it with all his strength. Wham! The door opened just slightly, making a little noise. Wham, wham! With a few more kicks, the gap in the door was wide enough for a single person to pass through. On that gap, there was only darkness. Matarai lowered his posture and slipped through carefully. Excuse me. The sound of sand beneath rippled through the silence. The structure was larger than the side, and the only illumination came from the flickering light. Little of gloomy darkness covering it. Cobwebs spread in every corner of the shed, across the shelves of paint, sacks of fertilizer, the edges and points of maintenance equipment. Hey, I know you're hiding here somewhere. Matarai's voice echoed slightly through the small room. Suddenly, his eyes were drawn to a spot. Behind a heap of burlap sacks, he thought he saw something small, shivering, almost as if in response to his voice. There she is. Matarai advanced slowly towards the pile with increased caution. There had to be a trap here. Many of the tools in his shed could double as a weapon. Scared prey. Matarai could see her in his hiding in the darkness, clutching one. What are you? Raising his voice and staying alert, he inched closer to the pile. By the time he reached the room's center, his eyes had completely adjusted to the darkness. If it's a fight you want, I'd be happy to accommodate, said McCool with that voice. But I'm warning you, you'll regret it. You're going to be in a world of... For a brief second, Matarai had no clue what was going on. He felt something in his face, and then his vision... Yeah. Groaning, he half opened his eyes. His room engulfed in fog. Yeah! Behind the pile of burlap, someone had thrown a white-gray clump at his face. As soon as it struck Matarai's body, it burst open and scattered countless small particles. His prey thrust her hand in the sacks in front of her, grabbed another mound of powder from it, and hurled it at him. Yeah! Matarai was stunned. This was no fight. It was childish quarrel. Snowball fight. Clumps of white powder.
What's the powder?
Oh, and that's what I'm to do. What the fuck? Matarai's face twisted. Anger?
Anger. I'm so angery right now, guys.
Oh my
so
god.
Angry. So angry.
Anger. That he had wasted his time on something so foolish, been so cautious of something so juvenile. Fury. I've had enough. It's just in this. The flickering light reflected sharply in Matarai's eyes when, you know what a dust explosion is? The girl raised her voice at that exact moment. About to move. His momentum was cut off and he stopped instinctively. What do you think would happen if you start a fire right now? What would... Right now there was fine powder floating throughout the entire room. The potential danger of the situation shot through his fire, spreading from particle to the next, hiding each in a chain reaction before bringing the entire shed up. And if you do that, it's over for you too. I thought it was over for me no matter what I do. Upon hearing those words, I remembered possible desperately. Matarai squinted really through the powdery fog. He could see the girl's silhouette without fog. As the dust began to settle around, her face was fine. Unable to pierce the facade, Matarai found strength. Who the hell are? It was no longer the face of frightened prey. Her eyes just stared into him, shivering its spine. I don't think there's nothing here to start a fire. The girl stayed there around the fire became heavy. His mood darkened as he rode around. Girl. Matarai thought for a moment. See his own reflection in her eyes. Strike first? The two options fluttered in rapid succession inside his head. Then suddenly, just a split second, his prey's eyes moved. Matarai turned by a reach towards to find an industrial vacuum cleaner on the wall. Right next to it was a bare electric outlet. Vacuum outlet sparks. The thoughts connected in world association. On instinct, Matarai began. There was no time. Margin for caution. He had to get there faster than she could. He took off toward the vacuum cleaner, gripped the cord in his with all his strength, as though prepared to build it like a whip. He towards himself.
something was quite right. There was some resistance when pulled. Too much resistance. That wasn't all. Pearl herself didn't cry, even after he vacuumed her. He could see her standing entirely still. In fact, he even thought he saw her eyes glaring in it. The sense of something not quite right transformed to his word and too late. Her large shadow swayed into Matter Eye's view. A stack of shelves tilted slowly towards him. The paint can slid down in his direction, rattling closer, closer, and then with a in a cloud of dust, the Shiki Matter crushed from him.
I'm just vibing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can tell.
Music is just.
Listen.
Yeah. See, once you get your new model, you'll be able to bounce, but it's not going to be a slime bouncing. It's going to be. I mean, they're similar shape to me, I guess.
Yeah, they jiggle about the same.
Yeah, I'd say they'll jiggle about the same as well when you bounce. We could bounce together. Not like that. I mean, we can bounce together like that, but that's not what I was on about right now. I wasn't on about sex. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
this isn't that kind of book.
The dust coating the room was thrown up in the air along with a deep ground rumbling. Cans of paint that once lined the shelves that splattered their colorful contents all over the walls and the floor, making the inside of the shed seem as though it lifted straight up. I inhaled the dust, coughing heavily. Eventually, my coughing eased, and I was able to breathe a sigh of relief. I had predicted that Matter Eye's cautious nature wouldn't let him leave the vacuum cleaner alone right after about a dust explosion. It seemed I was right. I threw the shed's window open, grabbed a fallen shovel, and stepped carefully towards the fallen shelves in order to check the condition of the crushed boy. I had to feign bravery while I was confronting him. My feet were still shaking with nervousness. My hands were already dripping with sweat as they gripped the shovel. Hello? I peeked timidly.
You're looking for?
I peeked timidly, tapping the shelves, finding Matter Eye pinned between them and the floor like a strange human sandwich. It seemed he was still conscious, though, because he managed to look at me.
Part man, part sandwich. All edible.
Played right into your hands. His voice sounded strange, possibly from pressure at the shelving above him. But there wasn't. Why wasn't there an explosion? When the shelf fell, there should have been enough static for a spark.
It was meant to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
This is cement powder. It's not flammable, I explained, while brandishing the shovel. Cement powder. I adjusted my hold on the shovel to open my notebook with my pen. Let's see. The necessary conditions for a dust explosion are combustible dust, oxygen, and a source of ignition. The cement powder isn't oxidized, so it doesn't burn.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.
Thanks for
See you
stopping by.
later.
Stay safe. Do crime or drugs, unless in moderation and legal in your state.
Oh my god.
What? Let's continue reading the book.
In other words, you can't even have a dust explosion without the dust or something like that. And you call that? It seems the old man in charge of this really loves to talk. I continued skimming my notebook. He sometimes catches random people and listen to him ramble on. Hey, don't you think it's kind of shady that he told all of that to a random high school girl? I guess it ended up saving my life, so maybe I should go think it over. I flipped through my notebook some more. Anyway, it seems this old man is really into DIY projects. He loves to build things on his own. Guess that's why he stores all that cement powder in here. And you use that as a decoy. Yeah, so I could get you to pull on the vacuum cleaner. I dropped my eyes to the notebook again and nodded vigorously. By the way, have you heard of a movie called Home Alone? I used one of the traps from it as an inspiration. I tied the vacuum cleaner and the shelves together with a rope so that when you pull the vacuum cleaner, the shelves come down after it. Oh, that's right. I also used the cement powder to help keep the rope hidden. I used a white rope, so...
Over-explaining protagonist.
That's enough. Matter I interrupt the weak voice. So, this trap was the ace up your sleeve. Not really. I mean, at the end of Home Alone, it wasn't Culkin who ultimately stopped the robbers. It was the adult who came to save them. It was the same in the second one, too. So, honestly, the ace up the sleeve would be when someone comes to save me. And, yes, I Please stop. Matter twisted his face as though my talking exhausted him. But don't you think it's too early? Victory? Huh? The strange words caught my attention and I couldn't help returning your question. What do you mean? I still haven't shown you my... Leaving only those words, Matter finally taken to silence. Trying to question him any further brought no response. It seemed he had lost consciousness. Oh, I can't say that word all of a sudden. Consciousness. There we go. I had the feeling something was left unfinished.
I'm saying bye.
Oh, bye.
Bye-bye.
I had the feeling something was unfinished, but my notebook also taught me there's a chance I might... Wow, I can't even say that word.
You're a nurse. You should be able to read these big words.
Pneumoconiosis. I inhaled too much dust, and so my first priority became leaving the shed. As I stepped outside, the weight was lifted from my shoulders, and I felt refreshed. Well, I guess the school's security department can take care of things later. Once they apprehend that boy, I'm sure everything will settle down again. I mean, he tried to attack a young girl, so he'll probably get expelled. And that means I'll never see him again. What? There was quite a choking sound, as soft as a small animal. I quickly realized it was my throat, but something rugged had closed around that made it impossible to breathe. What's going on? Even in my choke confusion, I could see the slim black telephone pole before me. Wait, telephone pole? I looked up, even more confused, and saw a pale white face atop the tall and narrow pole. It seemed to be a human face, a familiar face. There are some things someone as forgetful as me can recognize. The face was the face of the man who was supposed to be unconscious under a stack of shelves. Matterized. You seem surprised. He wasn't injured, at least. Even his clothes were perfectly clean. I know what you're thinking. He is the man I just took down inside the shed, standing here strangling. The cruel smile toward his face. Make things. This is the eighth of me. Part of it. His eyes, narrow as could be, were fixed on my own. They were oily and glittering. I think for now I'll just put my arms and legs. It's gonna hurt for a while, so please endure it patiently. Although perhaps I should. It would be a bother if... His tone of voice was more composed. As my mind only vaguely registered his words, there was no chance of plead for my life. Matter tightened his grip around my throat even further, and I felt my consciousness slowly slip.
That's why she's into this.
Okay, wow.
And it got tighter, and it gripped, and it was so grippy.
I felt emptiness, as if I were beginning to vanish, while each and every sensation was eradicated from my body. I couldn't say anything. Breathe. I couldn't predict anymore. My notebook slipped from my hand and onto the hazy bird in front of my eyes. Both the scenery and Matterai himself became twisted together. Right, twisted. Matterai's body distorted into a spiral swirl. Ground became sky became only his pale face remained the same. And it crumbled, and I felt at the back blood. I watched everything as it happened. From within my vanishing consciousness, which flickered in and out like a candle, I couldn't tell if it was reality or a dream, but nevertheless, I watched it. Croaking like a trampled frog, Matterai fell to the ground. Almost instantly, he leapt back up, his eyes drawn. Stared at it, fixed, right arm. Taffy. I couldn't really say what had happened. At first, he had stared at it with an expression in his face. Suddenly, he raised his voice in a terrible... Yeah. It came out with such force that it seemed to expel all the air from his body, a wretched scream filled with confusion, terror, and pain. I heard that dreadful. All I could do was stand there dumbfounded. Was I even standing? I wasn't sure anymore. Whether I was upright or on the ground, I wasn't sure of anything. I wasn't even sure if what I heard next was a voice or something. Oh gosh. Is this...
I don't know. Could you imagine that fucking Monokuma just shows up?
Yeah. Hoo, I may have overdone it a bit. Yes, a voice. It was close. Well, it's not like I had any choice. I'd be totally embarrassing if you died here. I mean, you're the protagonist in this, right? That's when I noticed it. It was strange that I hadn't until now. There was a pitch black silhouette standing right before me, and on top of that black silhouette floated a face I remembered seeing somewhere before. But I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember what face it was. You can't remember who I am, can you? I guess that's just natural. Well, don't worry about it. I'm sure you'll come to remember soon enough. After letting out a laugh, the voice coming out of the shadow grew quieter. But anyways, guess I gotta clean up this mess. What happened next started before I knew what was going on and ended just as quickly. She put okay, so it is Junk.
I assume, but when she's done the poo in like the anime,
Yeah.
it's clearly like her doing the personality of
Can
Monokuma.
I have your water?
Yes.
My throat is starting to be unthroaty.
Sort of.
Beginning to close a little bit.
Oh. I could say something right now. About putting something down there. One up. Somewhat lewd. Somewhat very, very, very lewd. I'm sure everyone would love.
She placed her hand upon Matarai's head, who was still on the ground, screaming in bewildered pain. As she stroked his head gently, Matarai looked up with a surprised expression.
Jesus Christ!
When suddenly, with a sickening crunch, his head fixed with the same shocked and horrified expression, twisted harshly and stopped in an inexplicable angle. I had no idea what was happening. Matarai collapsed on the ground like a rag doll. Red froth spilled from his mouth at my feet. This is just a dream. That was the conclusion my head reached, and I could feel my body relax at the revelation. Yes, it couldn't be anything else. This scene is so far removed from reality, it can't possibly be anything but a dream. Boo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Even that laughter echoing deep inside my ears, just a dream. Suddenly, the black shadow was again standing right in front of me, but this was also definitely the maybe familiar face appeared at the top of the shadow, addressing me once more. Until you can remember me properly, why don't you just call me Ultimate Despair? Yeah, I think that fits. Boo-hoo-hoo. The eyes on that face were excessively dark. In fact, they seemed more like holes than eyes. I stared at them blankly, beginning to feel as if my consciousness were being sucked up into the void. Inside the holes was a bottomless swamp full of black mud. My entire body sank deep into it and was slowly consumed by something that wasn't myself. Then a voice from far away. Let's meet up again sometimes, then I can kill you properly. It was a small voice coming from far away, but at the same time it seemed as though it were being whispered directly in my ears. This sure is a dream.
And it was all a dream.
With that last thought, I finally became submerged inside the bottomless swamp and my consciousness was completely lost. The girl tilted her head to one side. Junko Inashima tilted her head even further this time. It's great that I came back and all, but what's going on? Yeah. She swayed up in her crouched position to look at the thing in front of her. It was a dead body. A man, his neck and arm twisted in a severe angle. Let's see. This guy is... She raised her hand to her chin and closed her eyes tightly, posing like a great detective on the verge of a deduction. After a short period of indecision, Junko Inashima suddenly raised her voice in a cheer.
Bro, let's book her in.
Oh, yeah, because I think the storm is happening. Big storms. Supposed to be happening in the middle of the night. Oh, yeah, I remember. That's right. He said his name was Matarai. Oh, looks like even in death, I forgot ya. I wonder if I'll end up super forgetful too. As if. Inashima's laughter echoed through the night sky, stacking upon itself as if there were several of her laughing in simultaneous chorus. But the next moment, her laughter stopped. Her face turned sullen, as if it's suddenly grown bored of laughing. Anyway, where'd that other corpse disappear to? Suddenly, she was laughing. Where just moments ago, she seemed bored and irritable, she became jubilant, as though the switch were flipped. No shit, because she's got multiple personalities. Anyways.
Oh, I thought you were going to say because she's neurodivergent.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's not like it matters where he disappeared to, right? I'm so despair-inducingly great at these kind of things. The second her declaration was done, her face turned sullen yet again. But it's so unsatisfying when your plans always succeed. Fault is this? Isn't anyone going to take responsibility? Her expression changed with every sentence that came out of her mouth, but none of it was intact. Every time it reflected her true feelings. Despair-inducing capriciousness, that's what she was all about. She was the ultimate despair. Go Inashima, after all. Still gloomy, Shima shuffled towards Madarai's dead body. Oh, it's your fault, you know. Hey! She prodded the body with the toe of her boot. Hey, say something. What's up with being so easy to kill? You should have at least made an effort to disrupt my plans. How can I possibly despair like that? At that point, she suddenly changed her voice. Ah, it hurts. I'm so sorry. She whined, mimicking the dead Madarai's voice as though it were a morbid ventriloquist act. Inoshima, please, forgive me. She began kicking the body more forcefully as she continued to speak for it. Dark red liquid dribbled from its mouth. I'll repent by killing myself, so please forgive me. Inoshima returned to her tone of voice. But you can't do that. You're already dead. Having delivered her grand punchline, she stopped hard on Madarai's face. A thick crunch. Inoshima's laughed a loud, vulgar laugh, as if her one-woman show was the funniest thing she'd ever heard.
It is.
But she soon grew tired of that too, and her face returned to its original expression. Well then, I guess I have to call it that pitiful of mine. Ask her to clean up over here.
Oh.
First, filthy corpse. Then I'll need her to take care of it. And finally, I just have to get rid of that nuisance of a boy that Ryoko Tanashi left. Having confirmed her immediate self, and as she started laughing, she had just remembered something funny. She laughed vulgarly and grandiosely.
There you go.
Facing the sky with both arms spread open, her cruel, gruesome laughter echoed high in the night sky. There was no coherence to it, nor any necessity or sentiment about it. That was what the ultimate despair of Junko was all about.
You want me to take over now, or?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah?
My voice is starting to crack.
Chapter 11. Sorry, I just glitched a bit. I just realized that. Huh? Oh. Okay. Getting there, though. Nearly a third of the way through. When I finally opened my eyes, I saw a ceiling. It looks as though I fell asleep without realizing it. Of course, being as forgetful as I am, I never really remembered falling asleep in the first place. There was no real cause for alarm. I calmly turned my gaze, the ceiling, to a nearby window. Sunlight beamed in through a gap in the curtains, illuminating the white room I was in. It seemed to be morning. This room was a room I couldn't remember. That's the same as always, too. Anyway, my first order of business is always to calmly confirm the situation. Ryoko Otanashi's memory notebook. And I slowly tried to rise up from the bed, only to realize that I couldn't. What's going on? My body was firmly tied to the bed with a sturdy-looking rope. It was a magnificent knot that I could only describe as craftsman-like, and it bound me so tightly I could barely move my body at all. Even my neck was limited in its motion, which made looking around the room any further impossible. And finally, I remembered how to feel scared. In other words, I went from, what's going on to, what's going on? What's going on? No matter how much I struggled or said, what's going on, all I could do was shake and rattle the bed. Not only did the diligently tied rope show no signs of becoming looser, it also seemed to be getting tighter. Oh my. Someone, I cried out, terrified. Help me! Once I started, I couldn't stop. I shouted louder and louder. Please! I screamed and screamed and screamed. Somebody! Help me! Not just anybody! I love the Beatles! Then, after my earnest calls to help had been going on for a short while, being too loud, Dung Beetle. Words were abusive, but my heart started beating even faster than it already was. Matsuda? You want to scream? Do it more quietly, dumbass. It really is you. Only you would be such a bully to me. But the moment I knew for certain that the mocking voice belonged to my beloved Matsuda, My only desire was to rush and search for him. Since my head was pretty firmly tied to place, I couldn't even do that. Where are you, Matsuda? I cried frantically. Where? I'm right under you. Under me? I'm under the bed you're lying on, you cheap woman. Even disregarding the crass comment, what he said was a bit strange. Why are you under the bed? So I can control my frustration and actually concentrate. Being in the midst of a bondage situation, I couldn't confirm it with my own eyes. But his voice suddenly seemed to come from the other side of the bed. I was mistaking it. He was, in fact, beneath me. But what would require so much concentration that you need to be under a bed? This situation. It could have meant anything, but regardless, I gave my support. You can do it! Hey Matsuda, if something is troubling you, you can always come to me. I'll listen to your troubles anytime. I think I'll take you up on that offer. Matsuda took a deep breath. Last night I was informed that a super ugly acquaintance of mine went missing. So I had no choice but to go searching all over the place for her. When I came back to the lab, I discovered her ugly, dirty body lying on top of my bed, sleeping like a log and snoring like a chainsaw. So, you think you can understand my frustration? That sounds like a really bad, super ugly friend you have. It's you! Oh! Okay. So I've gone missing? Someone who can't even remember themselves going missing really shouldn't be allowed to act freely. I guess tying you up was a good decision. That means the person who tied me up was Matsuda? How surprising! I would never imagined he could tie such a masterful knot. Little stimulate. Oh, for fuck's sake. I joked about it going there.
Yeah.
And then it went there.
Uh-huh.
I was imagining that he stimulating. Anyway, I'm going to keep you tied up for a while so you can reflect on what you did. How long would you say a while is? I think until the next World Cup would be. That's way too long. It's coming, huh?
Okay.
You don't have a choice. Anyway, I think at least for today, should be good. It's still too long. People don't just tie up their lovers for a whole day. Who's my lover? I'd rather wake up as a squid tomorrow than have vermin for a girlfriend. Vermin? I couldn't find anything to say in response to his nastiness. It really seemed as though Asuda was mad. Silence afterward affirmed it. On top of the bed, I was silent. Under the bed, Asuda was silent. The awkward atmosphere continued for what felt like forever. After some time passed, Asuda sighed. Honestly, you've always been that way. What are you talking about? I just remembered. Something like this happened before. You've always known the perfect way to irritate me. Not sure if I want to hear this or not, but I'll listen. I guess. So what happened before? He suddenly started telling the story. Slowly, as he struggled to turn the memories in his head into words. It was just after you started elementary school. I was surprised already at how old the story was, but at the same time, it made me happy. It meant I've been together with Matsuda ever since I was little. And it meant that he remembered such an old story about me. But I don't remember it, of course. Nothing I can do about that. You were really skilled at making sandcastles. And amazed everyone when you started building this surprisingly large and intricate one at the public park. It was modeled after the Grada Familia? Pretty amazing, isn't it? I mean, a tiny elementary school student deciding he wants to recreate a cathedral of all things. And on top of that, you even knew how to use some advanced techniques, like solidifying the sand with some water. That's clearly advanced, using water on sand. Took you an entire month to build. An entire month! Real Sakurada Familia has been under construction for 120 years, and it still isn't complete. Not too surprising that it would take that long to build a perfect replica out of sand. Still an entire month? wonder what I wanted to prove back then. It was truly an amazing effort. No one could believe it was built by an elementary school student. As you were getting close to completion, a bunch of people from around the neighborhood came by just to watch you work, but well, you never actually finished it. Why? That was really close. Asuda answered my question in a rather flat, matter-of-fact tone. Someone destroyed it. Just when it was about to be completed. Destroyed it? Then suddenly appeared in my mind, a pitiful wreck of a sandcastle that had been trampled upon. Why would they? They have to be a truly heartless person to destroy something they'll go put a heart and soul into. I was still tied to the bed, but my voice had fire raging in it. You cried a lot over it. I mean, a whole month's work gone like that. Well, of course I did. I felt intense empathy for my elementary school self. You good?
Yeah.
Is my VTuber good?
Yeah.
Is it moving properly with the mouth and stuff?
Most part.
Most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better? Is it better? A bit more. It's probably not surprising, but I was pretty pissed over it and started looking for whoever did it. No matter how hard I looked, I couldn't find a single clue. There wasn't even supposed to be anyone at the park. Glad the family got destroyed, except for you. I couldn't find any other witnesses, and so my search hit a dead end. I think I got really depressed at that point. I remember sitting on a bench at the park, staring at the remains of Credia Familia when you suddenly came running to me. That was weird though. What was weird though is that you had this huge smile on your face, like I'd never seen before. No. I bet I found the culprit, didn't I? And that wasn't it. It sounded as if it would have been much better had that been the case. You came and whispered in my ear. You told me to keep it a secret. But it was you who destroyed the Secreta Familia. Data Familia. Huh? I was struck by complete surprise. So I spent a whole month working on a sandcastle when it was almost certain I destroyed it myself? Irritating, isn't it? Irritating or not, why would I even do such a thing? I asked you that. It wasn't clumsiness or anything, I mean. If it were, you would have said so from the start. Thanks to you, I wasted my time looking for a culprit that didn't exist. It wasn't an accident. That means I ruined a whole month's worth of work on purpose? How much of an idiot was I? I couldn't emphasize with her in the least point at this... At least at this point. In the end, you just used me as your plaything. You get it now? You can be absolutely infuriating at times. Yep. I guess even while tied down, I'm a total lost cause. We've reached a rare agreement then. Just like that. I was convinced being tied up was a good thing. I still had one regret. No, it was deeper than regret. A deeper feeling I couldn't find the word for. Is it? Does your stomach hurt? No, that's not it. It's just frustrating. I finally got to hear your memories of me. Straight from your mouth, but since I don't have my notebook, I'm going to forget them again. Ugh. You want your notebook? Put it beside the pillow. Really? My heart leapt at such an unexpected act of love. Which side, left or right? Or maybe neither of them? Calm down, Dimwit. It's on your right side. To my right, I should concentrate on my right side. I strained my muscles, turning as best as I could to the side. As expected, my notebook was resting there. Now there it is. I stretched my neck like a turtle and grabbed a corner of it between pouted lips. Then overexerting the muscles in my neck, lips, tongue, I somehow succeeded in getting the notebook open. Opening it is one thing, but how am I supposed to write anything? I contemplated that fundamental problem. A phrase in the notebook entered my field of vision. Junko Inashima killed him. Letters looked like twisted hieroglyphics that had been written in a very shaky hand. I couldn't understand what they said next. What's this? Junko Inashima killed him? About a movie or something? I heard a loud bang from underneath. Felt a hard impact shake the bed. What did you say? Asuda's bed voice was suddenly rigid. Used by the intensity of his voice, I strained once again to look at the notebook. Another sentence jumped out at me. Discovered a dead body at the Central Plaza. Dead body? Took me about 3 seconds to understand the words on the page. Then I started screaming, a dead body! As I tried to get up, the rope dug into my skin, causing me to yell an entirely different round. Ow! Ow! Nonetheless, Matsuda didn't seem to care about my predicament. He asked a question in the same voice. Hey! Junko Enoshima? I didn't know anyone by that name, so it didn't matter. Dead body. It says here, I found a dead body. What am I going to do? What do you do when you find a body? It's more important right now that you answer me. Do you know who Junko Enoshima is? How important. Upon hearing those words, a sense of discomfort spread through my body. It was such a strange reaction. I mean, how could that be more important than discovering a dead body? That's just not natural. Hey, Matsuda? I tried to stop overthinking and asked directly. Worried about this Junko Enoshima person. Met her before or something? I could hear short, quick breaths from under the bed. Hey, Matsuda? Wasn't a dead body, huh? If you really had found one, the school would have been in an uproar by now. There's nothing like that going on. Not it. About that girl. What was her name again? Try to skim my notebook again. Just now. How much I stretched my tongue. I couldn't get to it anymore. That's enough. I was mistaken. Oh, I was not doing it either or you. Forget about it. His words had an air of irritation about it. But if you tell me to forget it, I'll definitely start worrying more. I mean, it was written right there in my notebook. So it must be something that really happened to me. Dead body meeting a strange girl. All of just stories you made up. You're just mistaking as real memories now. I never write made up stories in my notebook. I mean, if I did, get mixed up with my memories, that which would be terrible. Maybe that's exactly why you did it, huh? You might really mixed fake stories in with your memories on purpose. How it became hazy. Why would I do something like that? You're always saying how nothing has anything to do with you. If that were the case, wouldn't you get lonely? Not being able to retain memories means struggling to form bonds with those around. That sort of thing would definitely start to affect you. Huh? Got my breathing slow. That must be it. You were lonely. So you started writing an imaginary story. I'm not lonely, not at all, I blurted out, upset. Oh, and you remember that. Masuda's sullen voice yelled back from under the bed, muffled slightly. That's not it at all, I cried in return. Masuda's words were so off the mark, not me at all. So all I could do was shout. Sure, I told you over and over. I bet you got tired of hearing me say it. I'll be fine as long as you're with me. As long as you're here. I'll never be alone. I'll say it again if I have to. Wow, that's dumb. Shouted so hard, my breathing grew uneven. My ears began to ring. It might have been unfair to use my forgetfulness to push close to Matsuda, but I didn't want to ever forget him. I know. Yeah, forgetful. Why don't you? After the echoes of my gone, there was silence, uncomfortable silence. Finally, Matsuda broke the silence with a quiet mumble. Anyway, the fake memory. Surely wanted to put an end to the conversation once and for all. I didn't accept it that if it didn't really happen. I can't trust my own notebook anymore. If I can't do that, what is there left for me to believe? Believe in me. Huh? Believe in me. Forget what's written there. Had these been normal circumstances, my heart would probably leap at those words. That was impossible right now. In fact, my heart was beating no faster than normal. There was a conflict inside it. Apparently I might have felt was drowned out by the ringing in my ears. Two certainties in my life were clashing violently. I was caught in the middle as if I were a boat caught in a storm. Yoko Otonashi's memory notebook was one only trusted route to my memories. Suda was one only existence connecting me to rest of the world, and I was suddenly forced to choose between them. Do I believe in myself? Do I believe in Matsuda? Finally, always been there for me, man. I'll let you be my memory. Stay quiet for a while under the bed. I waited motionless and patiently. I waited until he gave me an answer. He finally did. Right now, that's impossible. It was the exact opposite of what I hoped for. I was dumbfounded. But I tried to reply. Hardly pieced together a response. Can't now. Can't now. When could you? Don't know. Don't know. Anyway, it's impossible right now. Can't be with you constantly. But some other things I have to do. So then, that's right. You need to concentrate on your research, of course. It means no matter how much I choose, you can't choose me back. All I could do, grudgingly whisper those words of resentment. That's not it. Buddha was about to say something. He held his tongue at the last minute, sank into silence, said nothing more. I kept waiting for him to say something, anything. Can't do that. Please cure me. My face grew hot and began to blur. Tears began streaming down my face. I thought my nose was running as well, but I couldn't stop the stream of emotions flowing out of me anymore. If you can't cure me, at least make me forget about you too. I trembled as I cried out to him. That was too much of the only thing I can remember. I does not remember anything at all. Rope cut deeper into my skin as I thrashed and cried. Pain was nothing compared to the emotions I was drowning in. Fine already, just let me forget. Just let me forget about you. There was a rustling noise from beneath the bed. I just rose and stood beside me. As he looked down at my sobbing face, he didn't utter a word. He reached into his pocket, drew a few crumpled tissues. Without saying it, he gently wiped my face dry. I gazed at him. Almond eyes sunken in the middle of a worryingly pale face. Soft black hair down near the corners of his face. Long feminine eyelashes, a pointed jaw, thin lips, slender and pale fingers. That was Matsuda, but his face looked lonely. He looked at me with lonely eyes. Gently wiped his tears off from my face. For some reason it felt scary. Fret swelling in me as my lips parted, mouthed something. Matsuda! Masuda's hand stopped moving, quietly turned aside, started walking toward his desk. Soon he disappeared from my field of vision entirely. Matsuda! I finally managed to speak again, but I have an appointment I have to hear his voice from somewhere nearby. I've been entrusted with the treatment of a certain student. Can't postpone it. You're going? I'll be back soon. We'll continue our discussion then. Soon, I could hear his footsteps walking away. The only sound of the door closing. Gone. Chapter 12, alright. Up here for the night. Okay. I think this works well with the writing though.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad. Write down the chapter 12.
Wow.
Add that.
Some sort.
Oh, that's. Yeah. Close the PDF down like a PDF.
Hmm.
Leave this. Guys. Slide 2. Guys, next Wednesday then for certain. Bye.